Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Brata Dhanaranjana. Yasodanandana Brata Dhanaranjana. Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya. Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Brata Dhanaranjana. Yasodanandana Brata Dhanaranjana. Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya. Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Brahmachari Founder-Acharya Asadhara Sadushi Śrīmad His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Harival, glories to the sound devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tenamane. Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskatyade Satarane. Om Agyana Tivanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksurunalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhana Siddhadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitinanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena. Text 22. Ata. Well, it's a very long word. Anyway, we can read the whole thing. Atavam rijai shuru kala vilokayan. Atripta drik gocharam aha purusham. Pada sprishantam shitim asam unate. Vinyasta hastagram uranga vidvishaha. Atavamrim Yashu Kada Vilokayan. Atripta Drig Gocharam Aha Purusham. Parasprishantam Shitim Amsa Unyate. Vinyasta hastagram auranga vidvishaha. Atamrimishashu ahatulokayan. Atripta Drigocharam Aha Purusham. Vidapusantam Vajim Amsam Unite. Vinasya Hastagram Uranga Vidvisha. Atava Rim Shashu Akala Vilokayan. Adripta Drigocharam Aha Purusham. Padabrisham Tam Vishintim Amshin Vaurite. Vinyasa Hastagram Uyanga Vidvisha. Atamrim Rindashu Akala Vilokayan. Adripta Drigocharan Aha Purusham. Padavrishantam Vishidam Savunyate. Vinyasta Hastagram Uranga Vidvisha. Ladies. Atavamrim Yashu Kala Vilokayan. Atripta Drigocharam Aha Purusham. Padasvishantam Shitim Amsa Unyate. Vinyasa Hastagram Uranga Vidvisha. Ata. Thereupon. Avamrimshya. Wiping. Ashru Kala, tears in his eyes. Vilokayan, observing. Atripta, not satisfied. Drigocharam, visible to his naked eyes. Aha, he said. Purusham, under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pada, with his lotus feet. Sprishantam, just touching. Shitim, the ground. Angse, on the shoulder. Unate, raised. Vinyasta, rested. Hasta, of his hand. Agram, the front part. Oranga, Vibhishaha, of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground, while he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus the king offered the following prayers. Purport. The significant point in this verse is that the Lord was standing above the ground, almost touching it. The residents of the upper planetary systems, beginning from Brahmaloka, the planet where Lord Brahma lives, down to Swargaloka, the heavenly planet of Indra, are so advanced in spiritual life that when they come to visit this or similar other lower planetary systems, they keep their weightlessness. This means that they can stand without touching the ground. Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because he lives in one of the planetary systems within this universe, he sometimes plays as if one of the demigods of this universe. When he first appeared before Prithu Maharaj, he was not touching the ground of this earth, but when he was fully satisfied with the behavior and character of Maharaj Prithu, he immediately acted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan from Vaikuntha. Out of affection for Prithu Maharaj, he touched the earth, but he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, as if to prevent himself from falling down, since the Lord is not accustomed to stand on earthly ground. These are the symptoms of great affection from Prithu Maharaj. Perceiving this fortunate position, Prithu Maharaj cannot fully look upon the Lord due to ecstasy, but still in a faltering voice, he began to offer prayers. Translation again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground, while he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus the king offered the following prayers. Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutare Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskatyade Satarane. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya tridiskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavam yuge yuge. In order to protect the faithful and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish religious principles, I advent myself millennium after millennium. So here Lord Vishnu is coming to the sacrificial fire of Maharaj Prithu, in order to give some appreciation and some recognition to Maharaj Prithu, how he's properly fulfilling the duties of a king. Prithu Maharaj was born from King Vena. After King Vena was cursed by the Brahmins and he left, then great disturbances took part on this planet. Of course, this planet was probably much greater than what we think of this tiny Earth planet. Even it mentions during the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira, when he sent his brothers, the Pandavas, to different areas, he went beyond what we know as this Bharatvarsha. He went into other varshas in Jambudvip in order to conquer them. So being the king of this earth didn't mean that necessarily this small area that we're considering now to be this earth planet. In any case, Prithu Maharaj, as we know, he was a ruler of much more than just this little planet, since he took his chariot. No, is that Prithu? That wasn't Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj, that was Priyavrata. He took his chariot and carved out the different dweepas. In any case, Prithu Maharaj personally told the earth that either you cooperate or you're finished, which is more than most kings can do. In any case, Prithu Maharaj was an exalted king because he manifested the purpose of Krishna's incarnation. He protected the pious, he annihilated the miscreants, and he reestablished religious principles. So therefore, Lord Vishnu was very much pleased with him. And he came to the sacrificial fire. Now, when he was at the sacrificial fire, it mentions here that he was so pleased that he did something extraordinary, more than he usually does, that according to the verse, he apparently was almost touching, or in the purport it says he was actually touching this earth planet. And generally speaking, Prabhupada says, when Lord Narayan comes here, as he came as Krishna, there's no question of his not touching the earth planet, that his lotus feet were all over Vrindavan. As a matter of fact, he didn't even walk with shoes on. He walked barefoot. Not only was he touching the earth, this planet, but he was touching it with his bare feet and leaving his marks everywhere, his footprints. Similarly, Krishna's associates also didn't wear shoes, including the cows. Krishna wouldn't wear shoes because the cows didn't have shoes. And therefore Krishna refused to have shoes. And Śrīmati Radharani also didn't wear shoes. Therefore she painted her feet with red lac because the dust of Vrindavan is very dry and it dries the feet out. So in order to protect the gopis' feet from drying out, they paint it with red lac. But here, what Krishna is doing is extraordinary, at least with Lord Vishnu. He's actually apparently touching the earth because, as it says here, he generally takes the role of a demigod. Although he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, still, in order to encourage the demigods, because he's taking the role of the maintainer of the universe. There are 3 Purusha avatars. Now there are 3 Guna avatars, Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma creates the universe, Lord Shiva annihilates the universe, and Lord Vishnu, he maintains the universe. And when he's in the universe, he takes the role of the maintainer, one of the avatars, guna avatars. And he acts, as it says here, like a demigod. Of course, he's always the supreme person. Since Vishnu expands himself as Paramatma in everyone's heart, he's obviously taking more of a role than just a demigod in this universe. But still, in order to encourage the demigods, he generally plays like one of the demigods. And therefore, when he comes to the earth planet as Lord Vishnu, then he doesn't touch this earth planet. Apparently, the demigods don't want to lower themselves and get affected by the earth planet because they have a higher nature, and therefore they remain above the earth planet, retaining their status in goodness. This earth planet is known as a planet of fruitive activities. Fruitive activities means the earth planet is a realm where mostly passion activities go on, although obviously this is a special earth planet, special place, because Vrindavan is here, and Mayapur are here, and Jagannath Puri, places in India which are transcendental to the realm of fruitive activities. But generally the earth planet is known as the middle planetary system, and therefore it's a place where people accrue karma through work, either to go upward to the heavenly planets, or to go downward to the hellish planets, or to come back again and work for more fruitive activities, either to elevate oneself, or to degrade oneself, or even to find some position even on the middle planetary system where your activities are not completely pious and they're not completely sinful, and they have to have some place for you, so they put you here. Every single planet, every single place in the planet is just suitable to fulfill our karma, to give us the results of our karma. Actually, every moment, everything is perfectly arranged so that we can get our karma unless we become a devotee. Then Krishna takes charge of our karma in order to encourage us to make progress in devotional service. For a pure devotee on the highest level, then there's no question of karma, there's no question of experience of this material energy. One is actually completely on the spiritual platform, has not only no karma, but no experience in the material world. He sees everything as part of the spiritual world. Although he may play the part of an ordinary personality in order to teach people how to act and work in this material world, as Krishna himself does when he comes here, still a pure devotee is completely beyond material experience. But as long as one is in this material world, then Krishna, if one is a devotee or even an aspiring devotee, then Krishna arranges our lives in such a way is that we're able to not only experience something of the reactions of our past activities, but also we can become enlightened and encouraged to take shelter of Krishna and make advancement in pure devotional service. Now, for Lord Krishna to touch, or Lord Vishnu to touch this world, means that Krishna is always ready to reciprocate with his devotees, even though he's taking the part of a demigod, and therefore in order to encourage the demigods that this world is not a place to come to, and that one should remain above this material world, remain in the platform of goodness. Although the demigods, if they don't make further advancement, they also have to come down to the plane of fruitive activities again. But as long as they're demigods, they want to be associated with this mature world, especially identifying themselves as part of it, because they're above it. But in order to reciprocate affection with his devotee, more than trying to please the demigods or show then Krishna is more inclined to reciprocate with his purest devotees like Prithu Maharaj than simply to show or give some encouragement to the demigods. And therefore, apparently he comes and he puts his lotus feet on this planet, but then he's so expert that he also holds the shoulder of Garuda just to show that it's only temporary. He's not going to do it all the time. He's not accustomed to do it. He's just doing it to show some affection to Prithu Maharaj. And Prithu Maharaj is so expert, so intelligent, that he understands the Lord's mind, and therefore tears of ecstasy are in his eyes, seeing how Krishna is expert at reciprocating with his devotion and at the same time maintaining his connection with the demigods and not disappointing them by apparently coming down and manifesting himself as just on this planet. So that's one of Krishna's qualities. He's known as Daksha. He's expert. He can accomplish so many things at the same time, all for the satisfaction and encouragement of his devotees. And therefore we're given Śrīmad Bhāgavatam so that we can see examples of practical behavior, how devotees and Krishna himself act in expert ways in order to advance the cause of Krishna consciousness and also satisfy expertly the different aspects of Krishna's mission, to protect the pious, to annihilate the miscreants, and how Krishna establishes real religious principles, all the different aspects of religious principles in such a way as to enlighten us and encourage us and direct us in a way that we can act in this material world, at least in principle, try to get Krishna's mercy and intelligence from the super soul, from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, so that we can act in this material world and also become daksha, expert at adjusting things in such a way for not only our own personal spiritual advancement, but also for the spiritual advancement of others, and to show an example that not only suits the particular time and the place and the audience, but is actually can be an example for others in the future if seen properly according to time, place, and audience and circumstance. Therefore, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam has to be seen also not only from what the activities are, but also from the context in which the activities of Krishna and his devotees are performing their activities. Otherwise, we may take an example which is not really applicable to our time, place, and circumstance. For instance, King Prithu Maharaj's father was cursed by the Brahmins to die. Now we ourselves may think we're Brahmins and we may not like the government. We may start cursing them to die. But that may not be the example that's being shown in the Bhagavatam. That's our example to follow. So we have to see according to time, place, and circumstance, and then we can fully appreciate Krishna's expertise and the expertise of his devotees. And that way we can see all these different parts of the Bhagavatam in a way that can be practical in our own lives. We can apply, hopefully, within part of our own devotional service and help ourselves go forward in not only preaching Krishna consciousness, but becoming expert in instructing others also what they can do in Krishna consciousness. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Yes. You mean, well, first of all, you probably can understand it, unless you want to stay around for the next yuga, when people may have an opportunity to understand it. But right now in Kali Yuga, we're quite limited. Obviously, Krishna, if he wanted us to understand it, he wouldn't make us so limited in Kali Yuga. So we don't have the qualifications. All we could do is speculate about it, or we could accept it without rejecting it or blindly accepting it, because it has really nothing to do with our own spiritual lives. In other words, if by understanding it, we spend our devotional lives trying to understand this point, we'd probably be wasting our devotional life, because it wouldn't help us necessarily to surrender to Krishna. Therefore, what we can understand from the Bhagavatam is meaningful and helpful in our own spiritual lives. And we have to accept our limitations and understand that if Krishna wanted us to understand it, he'd give us the intelligence within the heart to understand it, or the experience of it. Just like he wanted Arjuna to understand what the universal form was like. And therefore Krishna revealed it to Arjuna. Now, what do we understand about the universal form? Now we make it a point of our lives to understand the universal form, which is much even greater than this varshas or whatever else. Then, even if we understood the universal form, what would be our benefit in spiritual life? But we can understand some principles of the universal form, for instance, which are applicable to our lives. Like, for instance, Arjuna says, Kalosmi Shaya Krit Prarido Lokansa Mahartami Ha Praritak. That, or Krishna says, time I am the destroyer of all the worlds. So this is something within our realm of experience, time. And he's engaging everyone. So if you look around, you can see time is engaging all of us. So this is also applicable. But wanting to see how Krishna eats the Kshatriya soldiers, how fire is coming out of his mouth, how Brahma is sitting on the lotus flower. We could do it. We could spend lifetimes trying to get that experience, but it would be just a distraction from our actual mission in life. Yes.
With regards to King Prithu, we hear that he was changed from the days of Vena. I'd like to know if do we have any correlation that and cloning? How do we explain? I've heard someone trying to say that's the origin of cloning.
I don't know what cloning is. Cloning is when you take one gene or something, you try to inject it into another gene in order to make another species or something. I don't know if, I think the sages were a lot more sophisticated than our present scientists. Yes.
But as we know that Shivadam, Dham, Bhaktivedanta, Jagannath messages have their transcendental dhams and they are pure. But still we see that some people, those who live there, they drink and they eat meats. So how do we understand, and being the dham?
Well, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur says that there's a thin material layer over the Dham, and that's where these people are living. The real Dham is beyond a mundane person's experience. I think Sadhaputta once gave the example, just like if you were told that there's a certain place in, say, downtown Melbourne. So if you went there, you'd see, that place. But actually, if what you're talking about is actually in the basement, that's where we want to go. Just by going there, you're not really seeing the basement or all the other floors that are there. So people are living on the first floor, for instance, and they don't know about all the other floors that are actually there. So they're living in the material world, doing material things, and there is an opportunity, even the Dhams, to do it. Although, as Prabhupada said, if you act like a dog or a hog in Vrindavan, then it's a special place because the dust will purify you. Well, at least you'll take birth as a hog or a dog in Vrindavan and get purified by the dust there. But Vrindavan is not meant to become a dog or a hog. That's not the purpose. I remember one day I was sitting there, I was chanting japa with one devotee and thinking about how they weren't paying attention, chanting properly. And then I realized that I wasn't, by doing that, I wasn't chanting and paying attention either. Then I remember I walked out where I was, and all of a sudden I got an experience of actually what the Dham actually is for a moment. And it was very much different from my normal perception of what I think the Dham is. So there's a whole different realm of experience beyond sometimes what a conditioned soul may think is existing there. Anything else? Yes. Well, it's the same kind of experience that we have, that we're acting as devotees. And as long as we're acting as devotees, then Krishna is we're getting some special treatment. In other words, we're guaranteed to come back, for instance, as devotees again somewhere, as long as we're actually on that level of acting in devotion. Now, because our devotion is mixed, we'll also come back, as Prabhupada said, that one should not be, in the Bhagavad Gita, one should not be fearful that even if one neglects his prescribed duties, he may have to come back and get the reactions for it. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that one should not be concerned about that, because even if one is low birth in his next lifetime, then pure devotional service will continue. So Krishna is taking into account both things, our activities and the fact whatever we're doing in devotion. So how he does that, you'd have to ask him, but he's quite good at it. So similarly, people who come to the Dham, no one comes to the Dham by accident. Kamsa tried to come to the Dham, and he was stopped immediately, and he was told he couldn't do that. He couldn't come to the Dham. As a matter of fact, as soon as Kamsa tried to get to the Dham, then I believe that he bathed in the river, in one of the rivers, and he became a gopi, he became a woman, which is quite embarrassing for Kamsa. And then he was brought to Śrīmati Radharani, and she told him, we'll help you, but just don't come back here again. So he went, they bathed him again, he became Kamsa, and he never came back again. So there's some special place called the Dham, and therefore special things go on there, and people who are there can't be there by accident. There's something special about them. Although, if they do things that are not proper, then Krishna will give them some special reaction to help them make some progress, give up their bad habits and make progress in devotional service again. Therefore, although we don't appreciate people's sinful activities in the Dham, but we should also appreciate the fact that they're in the Dham and that Krishna will take care of them. It doesn't depend upon us to correct everyone in the Dham. Therefore, when Sanatana Goswami was going to Vrindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that don't associate with the Brijavasis there very intimately. He said they're of a different quality. They have a different mentality. And, therefore you don't associate very intimately with them. Take shelter of Rupa Sanatana there. Otherwise, we may commit offenses. And at the same time, if we think, everyone is a pure devotee in the Dham, just like when I went there, I was told that everything's offered in the Dham. So you can go to all the sweet shops because all the rascals and everything there is offered to Krishna. So someone may think like that, but I don't think we should think like that. If we buy something in the shop there, we should offer it to Krishna. Nor should we look around and think, oh, they're all pure devotees. If you go there, you can find a lot of them smoking. They have marijuana plants there, and they think, oh, maybe this is one of Krishna's devotees' pastimes in Vrindavan. So we have to be non-critical at the same time. We have to be discriminative. Anything else? Thank you very much. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada